Welcome back. Well, she predicted it would happen. We're talking about Liz Trotta, and she predicted that the mainstream media would find some way to put a negative spin on Pope Benedict's visit to the United States. And she found her target. Lou Dobbs of CNN attacked the Pope, according to Liz. An unwarranted attack, an unjustified attack, and an attack that was factually incorrect. Is that right, Liz?
I think so, yes.
What did he say?
Yes. Well, first of all, he said that the Pope was, what the Pope said about, he says the Pope has no moral standing because of the child abuse crisis. The Pope has no moral standing to make any comments about morality. And then he goes, he found him to have very bad manners, said it was repugnant. This is a word, by the way, that Mr. Dobbs loves. He uses repugnant for just about everything. And so what he's saying is that that because of this scandal, he also says that the coverage is too much. He says the coverage is too much. He said if he wanted to talk to Catholics, he should send them an email.
Well, let's take a look at what Lou Dobbs said from that show. I think it was on Wednesday night. If we can throw that on the screen, please. A quote from the Lou Dobbs show. The idea that the Pope would come here and criticize the United States this way, I think, is, first of all, bad manners, and I don't care if you're infallible or not. The statement goes on. For this Pope to have this attitude and to make these comments is, in my opinion, absolutely repugnant. The thing about it is, the Pope wasn't speaking, I mean, I looked at his comments specifically about the United States.
No, of course not. He was speaking in generally. And what the Pope is saying, and I'll read the quote just so everybody has an idea of what it is he says. The Holy Father said, what does it mean to speak of child protection when pornography and violence can be viewed in so many homes through media widely available today? Well, who would say that's wrong? All he is doing
talking about the internet and things like that.
Yes, he is setting the thing up. But to get back to general coverage, I mean, Mr. Dobbs who is known in the business as being a very, very nasty guy.
Well, you know what? I met him once.
And this nastiness has come out in this. His tone was very much in keeping with his reputation.
Okay, well, okay, now we've talked about Lou Dobbs, but characterize the rest of the media coverage in general, because I've been watching, like you have, and I think it's been pretty positive. Here, Liz, take a look at this.
No.
Daily News, Pope of Hope, the liberal Washington Post, okay?
Right.
The papal visit, Pope Benedict XVI in America. This has been overwhelmingly positive coverage.
Okay, here's what I think. May I speak?
Please.
Here's what I think, and this is that I think that a lot of the stuff and the usual agenda that the liberal press wanted to throw at the Pope was short-circuited by the astonishing fact that he went and said, how many times? At least 4 times, I apologize for the abuse by priests, and meets with victims of that sexual abuse, which was very much, again, harks back to John Paul II visiting Aliaja, the man who shot him in his cell. And it was an act of real guts charity.
Well, Liz, do you have any evidence that the mainstream media were just chomping at the bit to get at this guy, and that they were cut off at the pass by what you're kind of reducing? I mean, you're kind of reducing this to a public relations ploy on the part of the Pope, that he just beat the press to it.
No, I think he changed the story, because up until that moment, there were pieces on ABC, pieces in the New York Times, of course, and pieces in Washington talking about declining Catholic enrollment.
Are those not legitimate stories? We're also talking about his message. But
this is an old story. There is, I mean, if we want to talk about declining number of priests, that is turning around. That was true 20 years ago, but they're getting many, many new young priests now, and also priests with a new point of view.
Okay, but I think overall, how would you characterize the mainstream media's coverage of Pope Benedict XVI's visit?
I think they had a huge story to cover. I think they did it very well. I think also the New York City Police Department, here's a little plug for your dad, did a fantastic job. And I think any criticism, and I think it was going to come, about what's happening with the church and, of course, sex abuse, was completely short-circuited by this astonishing act of charity.
Liz Trotta giving a praise for the NYPD.
Except for Lou Dobbs.
And also the mainstream media, except for Lou Dobbs. Okay, Liz Trotta, thanks. Good to see you this morning. Happy Sunday.
Thank you.
Jamie, actually, I'm going to take this one. A once-in-a-lifetime event about...